Life is hard when you're either gay or a prostitute or a gay prostitute or mentally disabled. We talk about this and more on today's episode.
Bum 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 bum. So I'm fixing Steiner over here. Can't see him.
I'll just record what you just did right there and just loop it, and that'll be the new intro. That's good.
It's cute, yeah. Okay, anyway. Welcome back to another episode of Around the Weird.
A booktube channel where I talk about unusual and out of the ordinary literature, and sometimes on a month-to-month basis I talk about movies that either I or Lucas have suggested. How are you doing today, Lucas?
Good. My classes went horribly.
It's never good to hear.
No, I'm feeling good. I am excited about cinema in a way, even though, as I've already told you a couple times, I did not particularly enjoy the film, but it did make me excited to. It was kind of like, well, if this is what people are making, I can do this too. But I felt there were some good things about the movie, and other than that, I'm great.
Well, I'd like to see a Lucas movie for sure. That would be intriguing. But for those who don't know, the movie that we're talking about today is Lost in Paradise, otherwise known as its original title is Rebellious Hot Boy, and the story of Cuoi, the prostitute, and the duck. Very interesting. I cannot tell you what its title is in Vietnamese, as I do not speak that language and I do not want to butcher it. But I'm going to be butchering Vietnamese anyways, as I tell you who directed and wrote this and starred in it. So it was directed and written by Vu Ngoc Deng, starring Ho Van Koa, Luong Man Hai, and Hugh Hien. People who are notable in Vietnamese cinema, but I do not think that there has been any crossover.
No, I've never heard of any Vietnamese movies ever.
This was produced in 2012, released in 2012, to some pretty good reception at the time, regarded as Vietnam's first positive portrayal of the LGBT in cinema, whereas in the past it's been very negative, or they've been joke characters or very effeminate or even villains in the story, and this is really modern Vietnam movies. Mm-hmm. A lot of the older movies, they portray Vietnam as down on its luck, or the people as having a hard time, especially with the Vietnam War. You don't really see a lot of that here, but things aren't really portrayed all that well for the characters. Still portraying a pretty portraying what it's like for the down and outs of Vietnam.
Yeah. I felt that was one of the movie's strengths. Was I did feel like we're looking at the gritty side of, I guess, the underworld, and things are not so bright and shiny for people who are just trying to survive. Anyway, as to your point, I feel like there was kind of like a proletariat sentiment behind it, of look at the people who are at the bottom of society. No criticism of the top of society or something like that, which is fine. Just let's examine this life and the struggles that people in this position go through. I felt like that's something that it did pretty well.
Yeah, there's a pretty good that's a pretty good summation of what's going on here. which I enjoyed. I really liked this story. There are a couple of problems that I noted, and then there's a lot of what other people noted, and then there's seeing what you have said, which you have quite a few thoughts about this movie.
Yeah, I still feel that the story, the half of the story about the duck is like watching radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ed Harris. Because except he's mute. That's the difference. Because I one half of the film, I felt like, to be honest, the man who portrayed the duck caretaker did fine, but I felt like the gay side of the story was pretty well acted and directed and everything. And then the side with the mute was just like, that was just the only thing he could think to do for someone who would be like this. But I don't know. It felt strange to me. Maybe you would have more experience with
Feels like
this.
they captured that kind of mental disability pretty well. It might not even be the case this guy has like a mental disability. It might just be the case
Yeah.
that they're they prefer like they're like one of the or they have selective mutism, which
Yeah, because he does speak later in the movie, or he makes some noise.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe he was just like selectively mute, like weirdly. I don't know. Like, I didn't understand what was wrong with him. I guess he was slow. But I don't know. I personally felt the mute side fine, but I felt like this is not exactly in like degrading to people, like I don't think it was meant to be degrading, and I don't think the actor's decisions were, I don't think the actor made all the best decisions. It felt like the easy choices, if that makes sense, to try to portray this.
Well, I do think like as the movie went on and things were getting more serious and the gay story, the gay side of things, like every time I saw Cuoi, it was like not now's not the time for this, buddy.
Yeah. I was getting, yeah, at the beginning I was kind of okay with it, but then as I became more interested in the gay side of the story, and we just cut away to this guy, like, go away. No one wants to see you. Oh wait, am I the bad guy for saying that? But nobody wants to see the duck, even though the duck is cute. I don't know. One side of the story is much better than the other side. I will say that.
Yeah. And there's three different sides. A phenomenon that you referred to as a triptych ass story, triptych ass movie, which
Yes.
I found pretty funny. But yeah, that's we can get into the movie now.
Mhm.
So there's a couple different characters. One of them is Khoi. He moves to Saigon, which we later find out is because his parents disowned him from because he is gay, and he moves from another city. I didn't write down the name of the city, but some of the characters think that he's from there, so he must be rich, and it's a coastal city, so yeah, touching upon the issues of money and whatnot and wealth and then that kind of thing. But Khoi is reading the paper looking for a place to live when he runs into Dong. And Dong is like, hey,
Dong is hanging around, as they say.
yeah.
Sorry, bad joke. That is actually his name. But he is hot and sweaty, working out in the park when he notices a potential John. I mean, a potential roommate.
Yeah.
Who,
So he asks
yeah,
them, like, where are you living? And like Khoi says, wow, we're looking for, I'm looking for a place. He lists out like a price of what he's willing to pay, and Dong's like, uh, 500 to something, and Dong's like, well, you're gonna have to live with people, so why don't you live with me, and we'll make it pretty affordable. And then he takes Khoi back to his apartment, where Khoi also meets Lam, who is unhappy that Khoi is there.
who is his
And
bare ass brother, supposedly.
yeah, yeah.
That he's very openly willing to smack on the ass in front of strangers.
And then yeah, Dong is like they're dating, but Dong says, this is my brother, and they agree to a price. And then Dong's like, go take a shower, buddy. And
Yeah,
so
you
while
stink. I'll take a shower after you, even though I've been hot and sweaty. Koi, come on, buddy. You gotta step up your wisdom points here
yeah,
because
he's very
that didn't make
innocent.
any sense.
But yeah, like while Koi is taking a shower, Dong steals his clothes and his money, and then it turns out this wasn't actually their apartment. This was a scam that they were running. So Khoi now has nothing and must live on the streets. And then while Lam is at like a shop, Dong calls him and says, "Yeah, I'm leaving town with the money. See ya." And Lam goes back to his apartment as well as to his real job, which is that of a prostitute.
Well, before we get into the prostitution element, lest we forget, Koi ran out with nothing on, literally. And then later he tried to steal the TV so he could have something because they took everything except the like basic electronics. And the actual owner shows up and is like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
Put it back. I'm gonna call the police on you. So on and so forth. And then we see the fallout between the other two characters, and we find out he is a prostitute.
Yeah. And um, Dong, or not Dong, but yeah, Lam is a prostitute. Koi's living on the street, and then we see Cuoi. Like it's Cuoi, and then Khoi is Khoi. So I'm trying to distinguish between the two with my pronunciation, but it probably sounds different if you're speaking in Vietnamese, if you're a native speaker. But
It sounded different when they were talking, but I don't think I can make the sound.
yeah.
Koi,
So
koi.
Cuoi is a mentally disabled man living on a boat and on the streets. Nobody seems to really mess with him, but he's hanging out with his with another person, and they're separating eggs, and he decides to take one, which hasn't been defertilized or anything. So there's still something in that egg, and he like is kind of hanging out near another prostitute, whose name I never learned. But she's an older prostitute. She's which is unfortunate because that means that society has really given up on her. But she's constantly hounded by her pimp, who is unhappy that she's not earning enough money. And then, in addition to that, the pimp is also angry that Cui's hanging around her, not really saying anything because he's mute. And like they keep saying, "Are you going to pay for her? Or are you going to sleep with her?" Nobody's coming around if you're hanging around here.
Han, maybe? I just looked it up. The older female prostitute, Han. I think this was one scene where that maybe that was, even though I, I have a lot of thoughts about Koi. Um, this scene, can you actually hear an egg if it's not defertilized or whatever?
I don't know. I
Because
don't
I
know.
would have thought like it's soaking up in the egg sac and all and eating up the like the yolk, not eating up, but like absorbing the nutrition from the yolk to grow or something. Do I not understand how eggs work?
I don't understand.
Did I
But
did I forget everything I learned in school? I don't know, but I was just thinking like this is obviously a different country with a different culture and things like that, but it is reminding me of like why does the uh, mentally disabled, is that the right term? Mentally
yeah.
disabled person have the magic power to hear life in eggs?
I
I,
think he just thinks that he can hear that, and that's not actually the case. So I think it was just an acting choice on the part of the guy playing.
or or directing choice, I suppose. It's a very strange thing. This was fine, I guess, but it did feel like this was my problem with Koi. Is not really so much his actions, although they were kind of, I still feel that the actor chose the easy path, probably to some extent. But it just felt like Koi has no personality to me. Like he becomes a mother with this duckling, um, which is nice, but he has no flaws. He's just like a guy that's there, has the magic power to hear through eggs, and then he's just like taking care of it. Like he cares about the egg, I guess. He has some kind of personality, but he's just like this sort of, I don't know, almost perfect being to me.
Well, I think as we see later, he's a little bit stubborn and inflexible, especially with the when the duck wants to be with the other ducks, which we'll find out soon. But like he's like, no, like you belong with me. But I guess he also does quickly change his mind there. So you're kind of right. No real personality. We don't really know who Koi is
Yeah.
outside of that.
I felt like the gay characters, they were really pretty well acted, and I felt I understood they have dimensionality, or multiple dimensions to them, whereas Koi, despite being a simple-minded person, so to speak, he will have some flaws. I guess maybe he's a little bit stubborn, but like ultimately, we only see pure, innocent, sort of good guy. Eh.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Anyways, at this point, we see Lam doing prostitution for a little bit, but Dong returns, and we see Lam talking to one of his friends about how Dong was his first love, and there's a flashback where like they're together, and then Dong says that one of his friends is coming over, and Lam wants he wants Lam to have sex with this person while Dong has sex too, and essentially this is grooming. Not really
Mm.
telling Lam what it's all about. And then they have sex, even though Lam has his hesitations. And then afterwards, Dong reveals that the man that this was one of his Johns, and they paid extra, and now they're in the world of prostitution, which Lam is extremely unhappy about.
Yeah. He's been pimped out by his first love.
Yeah,
That's
that's
horrible.
it's not a place to good
He
place.
might be the most, is he the most, on a personal level, like the most evil character that we've seen?
Um,
I mean, not the most evil, but like, I don't know, the most hurtful. I mean, we've seen some pretty bad dudes in some movies,
Yeah.
uh, and women of too, but like he definitely made me the most viscerally angry, I think, in a good long while.
Yeah, he's pretty heinous, as we'll find out. But
Yeah.
uh,
And he's
he's
annoyingly handsome.
yeah, annoyingly handsome. That's
I think he might be the most or second most handsome guy that we've seen behind the RRR dude with the amazing mustache.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Uh, I'm thinking about the villain of that movie of RRR, who was kind of a cartoon, but like he was, you know, a British imperialist, and there's really no beating that. But
Sure.
it's yeah, Dong is still pretty realistically bad because there's plenty of people like Dong out there that have groomed
Yeah,
their lovers.
he is manipulative as hell. He is like oh god. He's like a fuck what is it called? PUA. PUA. I mean, I guess it means like pickup artist. In Chinese, PUA. I forgot what that exactly means. Like he gaslights Lam a lot and tries to make him feel bad about himself and like, oh, you know, you need me, and I was your first love. I taught you everything, blah blah blah. How are you going to do this to me? And you know whatever. He's awful. He's so wretched and well acted, and he's my favorite character.
Yeah. So at this point, we see it's flashing back between Cuoi and Dong, and Khoi is living on the streets, and Cuoi manages to hatch the prostitute tells him that like if you put the egg in the water and it turns around, you have like a real duck gonna be hatched. And Koi manages to hatch that, and now he has a duckling to take care of. And over time, the prostitute is
Uh,
grows fond of
Hello.
Koi, and the like the pimps come by and try to kill the duck, but the prostitute like Han threatens to stab them, which they give Kui back the duck. So she's become attached and is somewhat standing up for herself. Also, we as the story goes on, she reveals that like she came from a city where there were a lot of ducks, but due to the bird flu, the all those ducks died, and the person who was raising them killed themselves or went crazy. That I think that's the point there. So she's down on her luck as well. And then yeah, Lam is walking home one night and he sees Koi just sitting on like the outside, like he's homeless, not doing too well, and Lam goes home, gets Koi's clothes as well as some of his money, and gives it back to him. Makes sure to like drop it off while Koi is sleeping, and then throws a bottle that breaks, and Koi wakes up and is like, "Wait, thank you for this, but also I'm going to beat you up."
Wait, there's more plot to have.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Eventually, Lam returns to Koi, and they develop somewhat of a relationship. Lam keeps asking Koi, you know, why didn't you go back home? Which Koi doesn't initially reveal why, but eventually he says he was disowned for being gay, which is unfortunate, but. I don't know enough about the coastal city or even Vietnam culture to understand how they view like homosexuality and the
Can be good.
differences. What?
I said, I mean, just looking at the whole rest of the world, probably very similar, but
Yeah,
not backed by a Christian morality kind of thing. I don't know where it would come from, but something else is probably influencing that.
But interestingly, if this culture does look down on homosexuality, it doesn't look down on gay prostitutes because nobody seems to be like policing the all of these prostitutes.
Yeah, and they are busy getting
Hmm.
picked up, dropped off, going to the next John.
Not
Yeah,
only is there a thriving like gay prostitute culture, but there's also a thriving gang of men who beat up gay prostitute culture, which we'll,
yeah,
we'll we'll see more of later.
yeah. That is another thing that is happening. Well, Lam, he joins this relationship with which one is it? Not Dong, Khoi,
Hmm.
and they have hot, sweaty, passionate sex at some point. And if I remember right, Khoi is looking for a job, and he ends up finding a job at a bookstore. And that position, there's two positions, and he's trying to get Lam to lose the old job, and they could work together, they could be happy, they could build a life together, etc., etc. But Koi, no, not Koi. Koi wants this. He's looking forward to the future. He's found somebody, although he was betrayed before they knew each other, who has repented to some extent, and he's excited for this. And he knows that Lam does not like this job, and that he was forced into it by the ultimate bad boy, Dong. And Lam's like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. At first, Lam doesn't tell Koi what his job is, but then he reveals it, and Koi is unhappy. Um,
Yeah,
it uh, it puts a major damper on their relationship, and I think at least one guy even like I think they're at the movie theater, and the one guy like who knows who Lam is propositions him,
yeah.
and Lam says, "I'm with my boyfriend," and he's like, "Oh, I'll pay for him too. I'll give you a lot of money," which is what happened with Dong. And unlike Dong, Lam refuses. So, and
Mm,
not really willing to drag Koi into that world. And then the movie shifts perspective again, and we see Koi with the ducks. And it's very happy, except finally the growing duck wants to be with the other ducks, and when Koi doesn't allow that to happen, the duck chirps a lot, and doesn't stop, and then finally Dong just allows that duck to be with the other ducks.
yeah, Koi.
Very sad, but you must let your
You
children
must
fly
let your
out.
children go. No matter how much you love them as a mother, you must let them go.
And then Dong shows up again and begins harassing Lam and Koi, specifically pointing out that one of them is a prostitute and just trying to make their lives miserable. At one point, he even like while Lam is showing up, Dong gets in bed with Koi, which is pretty unsettling, gross. Like doesn't have sex with him, just cuddles him, and laughs when Lam gets back. And then finally, Lam can't take it anymore, just stabs Dong in the foot.
Oh yeah, I love that. That scene was so good. And then you see Dong like crawling away, scared. I can't believe you would act like he's shocked that Lam would actually have a backbone, more of a backbone than just saying like "get away from me," but to actually fight him and severely wound him. And then we just never see him again.
Yeah, we never really see like and Dong finally being stood up to. What happens? Where does his life go? The movie just kind of forgets about him.
Well, I mean, he's learned his lesson, I guess. I'm gonna leave Lam alone because this is going nowhere. And also, there's nothing to see with him because Lam and Khoi have it out about his job.
Yeah.
The translation that I watched kind of like cut out in this part, so I was trying to figure out what was going on. But they have it out. And as I recall, Lam goes to his work, and then Khoi shows up and drives somebody. He shows up on foot, right? And then drives somebody else. But the translation cut out, so I'm not sure what happened at this point.
Okay, no, it's really funny. Basically, Koi is like, I'm going to be a prostitute now.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Since you've done it, I can probably do it. And then a person shows up and is like, hey, you're a fresh face. How much for you? And Koi turns to Lam and is like, how much do I ask for? which was very funny. I don't know if it undermines the seriousness of the moment, but Koi's like, it's my first time, how about $1 million or something like that? And the person's like, that's a bit too expensive for me. How about like $500? And then again, Khoi turns to Lam and is like, is that good? Should I take that? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then Khoi gets on the bike and heads off, and Lam chases him and is like, no, wait, come back. I don't want you to go. At that point, Khoi returns later, and they have their breakup at that point. It's an interesting scene. Both the Khoi trying to be a prostitute, and then the breakup, which there's a couple different interesting lines. One is that Khoi says, or Lam says, we've come to Saigon because of, how it can be paradise, but we found that we're in our personal hell. We've created a personal hell for ourselves. And then at another point, Khoi says, because Lam's talking about fate, and he, this prostitution is his fate. Khoi says, you can't pick your sexual persuasion, but you can choose your outlook on life. And I can't believe somebody would try to, or would chain themselves to fate, which surprised me.
You know what's weird? The translation because it cut back in at this point, and it said you can't change not your sexual orientation. It said your gender, and I was very confused at that moment. Like, did I miss something earlier about maybe Khoi wishes he was a woman? Because anyway, I didn't think so, but
one of us got a bad translation, I think.
Yeah, I got a bad translation, so maybe I couldn't enjoy the movie as much as you for that reason. But that moment I was a little confused because I was like, I'm following the gay story and I'm down with it so far. When did it become a trans story? I'm confused.
Yeah. That's not what it is. Unless again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
even both translations miss something in Vietnamese. I don't know.
We'll have to learn Vietnamese.
We'll have to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. But so they break up at this point, which is unfortunate. And then Lam begins robbing customers, which surely won't come back to hurt him later. Nope. And then in the interim, Khoi tries to buy a duck from somebody who's transporting them to kill the ducks or something. And
probably selling them.
Yeah, and Khoi has a new duck, but the duck begins chirping once it leaves the other ducks, and
I
He
thought
chased.
he was trying. I thought my thought was he saw the ducks and thought, oh, she picked up all the ducks like from the river. And because he spends a little bit of time searching, and I thought he was trying to buy his duck. But then he like it chirped and he looked at it and he thought, no, that's not right. But again, maybe you had a better translation, so maybe
There was
he
no
just wanted a
talking
new
there,
duck.
so
What do you
um,
say?
so there was no talking there, so there was nothing to
Yeah,
compare.
you don't really know what he's thinking, but that was what I thought. Like he wanted his same duck, and then when he put it back, I was confused why he didn't try to get a different duck. I
I think it's
was
because the duck was chirping like the other ducks, and he learned, oh, that means the duck isn't happy here, it wants to be with its with the others. It's a social
and maybe he
creature
was
like
just
that.
getting any duck.
Yeah. So he puts it back, and then he's chatting with the prostitute, and
Mm.
I think he gets another duck. Like the other duck comes back, and then like the prostitute is hanging out with him, and the pimps show up, and then they beat up Cuoi, who is hurt, and they try to steal the duck, and the prostitute has had too much. Han is not having a good time, so she kills or beats the pimps to death, and then like drives off with Cuoi. And then at the end of the movie, like they're seen lying together. Although it's not sexual or anything like that. It's just,
Yeah, they're just companions, not really friends, but there is some kind of bond. I guess no, they are friends because we'll get to it. They are friends, but transition back to the more interesting story. Lam is suffering from a little bit of crime and punishment. He stole from a John, and the John found the gay prostitute beating black gang members. Gang members. In Chinese, you say "hey bang," so "hey" is black, bang gang. The gang members, I guess they're part of a gang, but
yeah,
they're beating up people, and Lam tragically is killed. This was a devastating speed run of a crash out for Lam.
yeah. It's kind of it's one of my issues with the movie because like Lam breaks up with Koi, and then like 2 scenes later he's robbing people, and there's no like downward spiral. There's no progression there. So
Yeah,
you're right. It's speed run.
yeah.
The
The
movie should have
crash
been
out was valid. The what was shown was a little confusing.
I do think this movie should have been a little bit longer, just to give everything a little bit of time to breathe, or at least take away Koi. Like I guess
Yeah.
Koi's there to make the movie not seem so down and sad.
I would have been down for that. Anyway, go on.
No, it's yeah. Lam is beaten and presumably killed, and then the movie goes into the epilogues. One of which is Koi finally returns home. Uh,
Yeah, to for college entrance exams.
does he get like accepted by his family? I
I
don't
think
know.
he's just decided there's nothing good in Ho Chi Minh City or in Saigon.
You can't call
There's
it that.
nothing for me here. What do you say?
They said you can't call it Ho Chi Minh City anymore. Or well, actually, that's what it's actually called.
Yeah, you can't call it Saigon anymore, but that's
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
translation said.
yeah. That's what yeah. Interesting. I wonder if people still call it Saigon and it's just Ho Chi Minh City in the communist sort of canon. Maybe I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It might just be an American thing to call it Saigon.
Yeah,
I don't know. Saigon's cool. Ho Chi Minh City's cool too.
yeah.
My friend just went to Vietnam. It's the 80th year of their liberation, so they've been celebrating all year. and he got me a Ho Chi Minh thing, magnet.
80th year of their liberation?
I guess so. Or
That doesn't make
maybe not their liberation, their like fight for freedom
well,
beginning.
that doesn't really make sense because
That's what he told me.
well, I guess if you count the 40s. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of the United States War, but it might actually just be
The
when
French
they
had colonized them before, you know.
yeah, yeah. One of the things that between in French Indochina and Algiers, it's one of the things that almost led to the destruction of France
Damn it.
in the 50s. So yeah,
The Algerians and the Vietnamese should have fought a little bit harder.
yeah, and I mean like internally, not like for France and like Vietnam or like Algiers are going to come back to get them. No, it's just like these people were so divided on French colonialism that they just that it nearly tore the republic apart, and they had to rewrite their entire constitution to kind of
Hell
rebuild.
yeah.
But that's another thing entirely. But no, that's really cool that your friend went to Vietnam and
Yeah.
that they're celebrating that.
Yeah. Anyway, epilogue. You see some hot boys running, giggling with each other, but one of them's already dead. Lam. What's his name? Khoi goes back to do the entrance exams in Not Trong. I just looked it up earlier. The town he's from. Don't know if his parents accept him. I think he's just accepted himself because he's realized there's nothing for me here. And then Cuoi has been visiting Han or whatever her name is in jail. And she's going to jail for 15 years, which I think was probably the most devastating part. Like, okay, she did murder two people, so she should get punished to some degree. You can't just do that, I guess. At the same time, bro, they have been pimping her for how long now?
Yeah,
So can 15 years, that's much shorter than America, where it's like 25 to life, right? For one murder. So, but I'm just thinking like, can we get a little sentence reduction here? Maybe like 1 year each or something, because 15 years for a poor woman whose life has been miserable because of these people. I guess
yeah.
it just goes to show that there's a lot of corruption, morally speaking, in Vietnam.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. These people are outcast, and society is not built in their favor. So, yeah, that's pretty much the end of the movie. Incredibly sad. Very much bury your gaze kind of tropes there. I liked the movie. I thought it was really well done, well acted. My biggest problem is the soundtrack. Like it seems like they play the same piano music every 5 minutes whenever something sad happens.
Have you
And
ever seen what is the Twin Peaks?
I've only
David
seen a
Lynch
couple
does the
episodes from
same
that
thing with
because
Laura's theme, but I don't mind it. When I heard the music again and again, I was like, I don't think they were inspired by David Lynch, but I was like, yeah, baby, it's David Lynch. It's Twin Peaks all day.
but it kind of borders on parody at time where you're like, oh, here's the sad music. Let's play whenever.
I think it fit really well. I'm personally somebody who doesn't mind hearing the same song again and again. But maybe like just for me, like, and I know you play video games too, but like in video games, if you go from one place to another and they have different soundtracks, the music is gonna loop. And at least more for older video games, you had like a catchy soundtrack that played after a minute or two, it would repeat. So I'm fine with hearing the same song again and again. Nowadays, music is more esoteric and atmospheric and stuff, but I see your point. I can understand why people wouldn't like the repetitive, but I feel like it was very well executed. Using it, I feel like it came in at the right time. It fit the right mood for the what was going on. That was another highlight for me, as you saw in my review. I actually really liked the music, and I liked that it repeated. If it chose lots of different songs, I don't know if it would have been as good.
I can understand that. I just think that's one of the weaker parts of the movie because everything else feels really well done. The whole idea of trying to fight fate, but Lam is like, your body is the tool to earn money. Like that's all
Yeah,
it.
your body is only a tool to earn money or something,
Yeah.
is what my translation said. Something.
Which is true. Like I do think that's a very like communist kind of mindset, but they're taking it even further here by saying, like, and that means you should do prostitution. That means prostitution is the only way of life for me.
Yeah, that was a pretty devastating line.
Yeah, and then you just the whole this is fate. Like this is what I'm stuck as. My boyfriend turned me on to prostitution, and now I cannot escape that. And these
I
people
mean,
are
if the
lost.
money is good, how could you in a way? Because you want. It doesn't seem like the money is good, but
No, it doesn't seem like it
maybe
at all.
on a different scale, sex work for many, not many, but for quite a few, is very lucrative. But it's a trap because then you get used to a certain lifestyle, and then So even in a sense, whether communist or capitalistic, this is kind of like a but I think there's a communist element because it's a communist country. Yeah, I enjoyed the gay story more and would have been okay with them cutting. If it would have been about the gay prostitutes and this woman prostitute, that would have been okay. The mute with the duck, I don't think he added anything to the story
No.
other than he had a cute duck. And he was like a pure symbol, a symbol of purity kind of character, which I think was a detriment to the movie. I enjoyed the music. I thought the direction, maybe, I forget which scene that was that we said earlier that the direction maybe wasn't. Oh, when he's listening to the egg. I thought the direction was pretty good and the camera work and everything. Yeah, it just felt like, especially at the end, can we add a little bit more to what's going on here? Can we use if can we explore some of these themes a little bit more? Because we've done a pretty solid job of showing the outcasts of society, but I don't know if we've actually dug deep into, I don't know, what to do or where do people go from here more enough or something. If that
Yeah.
would have been explored more in the writing, like three more drafts or something, two or three more drafts, I think it could have been a B plus player, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I agree with that. A lot of interesting points there. I feel like this movie is like so close to making a cogent point. And it does make a point. I feel like it could just make a better point. Like it's so close,
Mm,
but it doesn't quite land in the echelon of top tier movies that we've cataloged on this channel.
yeah, for sure. It's sadly in the bottom half for me. But that's okay because it is time for the age-old question. Which character do you relate to most?
Yeah, so I think the answer is Khoi. Just because I'm a bit naive, and I probably would have fallen for the scam that he fell for. So, and then I would have been caught by the landlady trying to steal a TV to make ends meet. But I'm also kind of, hopeful that life can be more than just about selling your body, and that there's you can get out of a lifestyle that you truly don't want to live in. Also, working at a bookstore sounds really fun, and I would love the job that he had. So, yeah, that's my answer there. Who did you relate to the most?
I would have to say maybe the duck. Not a thought in my head at times. Just vibes. No, maybe I would relate most to God. I don't know. Not really Lam. I'm not in this position where I've been betrayed by a loved one to sell my
Yet.
body yet. Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for people like that, but not Khoi. I don't think I'm that naive. Not Cuoi, because I'm not a symbol of purity. Who's left in the movie? The prostitute, I guess, the female prostitute. I don't know if I relate to anybody, but if I had to say, I guess maybe the no, because I wouldn't let somebody beat me up. Oh my God. I'm going to say Khoi as well. I'm a bit naive.
Okay, yeah. Um, Not really any specific character, although, yeah, there's a lot to think about there. But yeah, so interesting movie. Few problems, but potential. Ultimately, so at that point, what's the next movie? What are we going to watch for December?
I have a number of. I wanted, because I was very upset after initially finishing it, and once I thought more about it, I mellowed out a little bit. But I was thinking I want to go back to watching something that should be fantastic. Although last month we did watch a fantastic movie as well with Wolfwalkers. But I wanted to watch a movie that comes from Japan. I might hold off on it, but we've already watched quite a few Japanese movies. I thought about choosing a Korean movie, but we have also watched a couple Korean movies. And I realized we have yet to watch a movie that I believe we have yet to watch a movie in the Spanish language. So I was thinking, why don't we head down south to South America, because we have not watched any movies from that continent yet. And actually, let's take a detour from the Spanish speaking countries and go straight to Brazil, to the City of God.
I've been thinking about that so many times, but I just never picked it.
Yeah. So
But
we're gonna it's a Portuguese language movie, but
mhm.
we're gonna watch a Brazilian movie, City of God.
Okay, okay. Um, Down South America way. That's good. Uh, I think that I'm actually surprised that we haven't watched any movie that in the Mexican or in the Spanish or the Portuguese language.
Yeah, I almost chose a Spanish movie, like from Spain. And I know it would have been good, but it was about fascism, so I didn't. We just watched movies about fascism and poop, so I don't really need to. The association is still there in my mind. I don't need to be reminded of Salo.
Yeah,
It was not Salo, but
but yeah, we'll be sure. I'll be sure to watch that. Our review or our video might come out a bit later. I know that you have holiday stuff in December and whatnot, but we'll find some time to watch it. But yeah, those are our thoughts, and that's what we're gonna watch for December. If you have any thoughts, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, not only to this channel but also Lucas's channel, where they release some pretty high quality videos every so often, including one on Final Fantasy VI that came out, which I still need to finish. I watched a good chunk of it, but it's a very beautiful video from what I've seen so far. But yeah, also be sure to click on the link in the description to the Discord if you want to have further conversations about this sort of thing. And until then, we wish you the best of luck in your weird and paradise-based travels. Farewell.
Farewell.